This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 511, How to Sell with Compassion.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. It's Pat Helmers. This is the podcast that embraces the effortless action and Taoist style of non-pushy sales. Now, have you ever hesitated to pick up the phone and make a cold call? Don't worry, we've all been there. We grew up fearing strangers, and now as adults, the idea of making a call and potentially bothering someone is as scary as finding a spider in your shoe. But hey, when it comes to calling family, speed dial is practically a reflex. Now, this is the challenge. How can we find the courage to prospect and reach out to strangers? Curiously, the answer can be found in compassion. I know. It doesn't make sense at first. But that's how Taoism works, because it's filled with paradox. In today's episode, we're going to discuss how to sell with compassion and how to treat strangers like family. But before we get to the chapter, make sure and subscribe to the podcast and also follow us on Facebook, X, and myself on LinkedIn. You can find links in the show notes. And now today's chapter. Sell with compassion. See strangers as family. Trust they will treat you as you would be treated. Do you need courage? Try compassion. Knock on the door, pick up the phone, seek rejection, and leads will arrive as a consequence. You don't reap what you don't sow. When the marketplace attacks you, defend yourself with compassion. It's the most powerful tool in your arsenal. And now today's story. Pat and Chris sat in the conference room working on a project. Deep in the discussion, the phone rang, and Pat answered the call. It wasn't the prospects, but instead a random cold call. Pat was nice to the caller and patiently explained they were not qualified to buy. Furthermore, Pat gave the caller some coaching on how to improve their odds. Chris was surprised, first by Pat's patience, and secondly by Pat's generosity. "Why'd you spend so much time with that caller?" Chris asked. "Oh, that's easy," answered Pat. "I see all strangers as friends and family. I treat my prospects and clients the same way I want to be treated. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and in this person's case, I know it's hard cold calling. Why not be nice to them? I get it. Some people are rude, but why focus on the negative when a relationship can lead to a great opportunity? When I meet strangers, I just see myself." Will Rogers, the famous cowboy humorist, once said that strangers are just friends he had not yet met. I love this sentiment. One of the problems with treating sales as a numbers game is you start treating prospects like they're numbers versus living, feeling people with genuine problems and desires. I urge you to never lose your humanity and see the whole world as a community. Treat each stranger like family and give them the benefit of the doubt. Be generous in your listening and do what you can to help them. If you do, you will be pleasantly surprised by the opportunity it brings. To download a copy of this week's chapter of the Tao of Sales Babble, you can find it in the show notes at salesbabble.com. And while you're there, you can sign up for our brief weekly newsletter with links to the podcast sent conveniently to your inbox. Next, if you could do me a favor and share this episode with a friend who's also interested in growing their selling skills, please do. Word of mouth is the premier way of growing our sales community. And if you have any questions about sales, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn or click the Babble Me link on the website. Sales is one of my favorite topics. I can help you out. With that said, that's all I have for this week. Until next Tuesday, take care and have a highly successful and a profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.